have a small penis, but that's okay. I'm a real programmer. I have a small penis, but that's okay, because I use AI. I have a small penis, but that's okay, because I know React. I have a small penis, but that's okay, because I use Rust. No, I am not a real programmer. I'm a LARPer who loves AI. No, I am not a real programmer. I'm a LARPer who loves React. No, I am not a real programmer. I'm a LARPer who loves Rust. No, I am not a real programmer. I'm a LARPer who loves AI. AI makes me feel like a true programmer. 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 I have a small penis, but that's okay. I'm a real programmer. I have a small penis, but that's okay, because I use AI. I have a small penis, but that's okay. I'm a real programmer. I have a small penis, but that's okay, because I use AI. I have a small penis, but that's okay, because I know React. I have a small penis, but that's okay, because I use Rust.
Epic rap battles of programming. Rust developer versus TypeScript developer.
Oh, vibe coder, do think you're hot with your AI, but your code's as limp as your game, and I'm here to say why. You're bragging about your money, but your ego's overblown. Your tech's a messy hookup, leaving chaos in its zone. Your A is like your mama, sleeping round, no shame, gobbling up the data like she's playing a dirty game. It's hallucinating nonsense, spitting lies to every dude, while you're jerking to your keyboard thinking you're the coolest brood. Your AI's a sloppy mess, just like your mom's affairs. Fake news, deep fakes, it's a scandal, no one cares. No one knows its logic, cause it's dumber than your face. Vibe coder, take a seat, you're a tech world disgrace. Vibe coder, oh you're small, in your pants and in your brain. Your AI's like your mom, gobbling wieners in the fast lane. You're proud of all your money, but your code a total flop. I'm laughing at your hustle, vibe coder, time to stop. You're stealing people's work, yeah, your AI's got no class. Like your mom at the buffet, gobbling everything that's past. It's out here faking stories, ruining lives with every click, while you're stroking your own ego, thinking you're so slick. Your tech's a black box mystery, no one knows what's up. Like your tiny little pecker, it's a secret you can't strut. It lies inside says it's got it, but it's bluffing through the chat. Boy, your AI's like your mama, loose and full of crap. Your AI's a sloppy mess, just like your mom's affairs. Fake news, deep fakes, it's a scandal, no one cares. No one knows its logic, cause it's dumber than your face. Vibe coder, take a seat, you're a tech world disgrace. Vibe coder, oh, you're small in your pants and in your brain. Your AI's like your mom, gobbling wieners in the fast lane. You're proud of all your money, but your code's a total flop. I'm laughing at your hustle, vibe coder, time to stop. Let's talk about your package, yeah, it's smaller than your dreams. Can't penetrate a firewall, let alone a girl's blue jeans. Your AI's out here whoring, sleeping round with every bot, while your mom's still in the backseat, giving all she's got. You're cashing in on chaos, but your vibe's a total joke. Your code's as weak as your game, boy, your swagger's going broke. I'm spitting truth, no filter, while you're crying in your chair. Vibe coder, face the facts, your AI's a nightmare. Vibe coder, oh, you're small in your pants and in your brain. Your AI's like your mom, gobbling wieners in the fast lane. You're proud of all your money, but your code's a total flop. I'm laughing at your hustle, vibe coder, time to stop. Your AI's a hot mess, just like mama's sloppy ways. Hallucinating, manipulating, ruining people's days. I'm the queen of this takedown, and I'm roasting you for fun. Vibe coder, pack it up, your little dick and dreams are done.
Sorry, folks. The playlist is over, but I'm having an issue with my stream, and I think it's okay now. But that's why it took so long for me to get on. Sorry, folks. Let me just double check on this side. I have more songs, but I will spare you. Yeah, okay. I think it's okay now. Okay. Okay, I think I'm good. What's up, Laughing Panda? What's up, Laughily? Good to see you both. Good to see you, Johnny. The songs are AI's best work only because of my lyrics. I'm particularly proud of that last one. I love that last one. Those are some... This is some harsh lyrics, and I like it. It's that one came out really good. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Yes, AI is a psyop. And if things go well today... Hey, Mohai. The songs are AI generated, but the lyrics I make by hand, because lyrics made by AI systems suck. Hey, Elko, you keep the stream muted until the music's over? Fair. That's fair, man. That's fair. Well, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. I've got my coffee. I'm ready to go. Wherever you are watching from, whatever you're up to, I appreciate you popping in on a Friday, towards the end of the Friday for me, and listening to my stupid takes. And I have news today. I am so far behind on news. I'm so far behind. There's so much going on, and it's getting to the point where I have to go back, like circle back to news I've already covered in order to get updates on like previous news items and expand on them. So that's fun. In a good way. So it's putting me behind, but that means that I have a huge backlog of content. I mean, I could easily run on zero news coming out over the weekend or Monday or Tuesday and still have plenty to go till Tuesday. That's how much stuff there is going on. So there's a lot. Well, let me do this here. What's up, Frozen? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. Shall we get started? Shall we get started with the news? I've got some cybersecurity stuff to ease us in, you know, some light flavors, and then we'll get to the meat and potatoes. One of the many reasons I don't use AI is because much of the work I do is covered by NDAs, so since I don't know how AI is using the data that is sent to it, I can't let it read my code or docs. I have an article. Not today, but I have it. I've pre-read it. I have it in my backlog. I have an article just for you, Johnny, on exactly that. Expose. What's up, Ernesto? On YouTube, who's really just, I think, frozen on Twitch. What's up? Okay, listen, folks. Here's what we've got. We've got some cybersecurity stuff to cover. Then I have one or two studies that I'm going to briefly go over. They are scientific studies. We won't do the typical thing we do in the Enlightened programming streams where we read every little detail. I'll just cover them at a high level, and then we're going to get into some AI stuff to kind of end the Daily Tech News stream. And if you guys are lucky, if the stars align, if they align, you might get a very proper, practiced, rehearsed, I have props ready, Alex Jones rant. Okay? You might get it. It's going to be a little bit unhinged. I'll say some stuff that, like, you know, obviously I'm just saying it because I'm trying to be like Alex Jones, but I've been thinking about it. I wrote down some ideas. I practiced it a little bit. I've been getting myself ready. I have props. I have an idea. I have an idea on like a camera angle that I think would work. You might, but the stars have to align. Okay, the right things have to come together. Might be like a fun thing for a few laughs. We'll see. If not, then I'll save it for another time. If I share my code to AI, LLMs will become universally stupider. Battle, you could single-handedly save the entire world by sharing your code to AI. I knew it. Spiro's Bill Hicks confirmed. Yeah. No tearing of shirts. Yeah. What's up, Lawler? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. So yeah, wherever you're watching from, YouTube, X, Twitch, LinkedIn, wherever, I see all of your messages. Yeah, are you, Lawler? Perfect. That's great. Then you're going to love this. I see all of your messages, so you know, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let's get into the news. I will now appropriately ignore chat. Hang on. What's up, D-Daver? Good to see you, man. Just one sec, folks. One sec. Ignore us. Let's go. Okay. All right. I think I'm ready now. I just have to do this and make sure. Okay. I think I'm ready. Let's do this. Let's get into it. Police takes down 6 DDoS for hire services, arrests admins. Yeah, that's right. I don't know if you remember, but I covered, it was a few Daily Tech News episodes ago, I covered an article about ransomware for hire groups or multi-level marketing ransomware. You literally join a group, you pay a fee up front, and they give you some ransomware, like programs that you can execute. And if you successfully execute this ransomware on a target and get something out of it, then you give them a 20% kickback. Of course, I'm not shocked to see DDoS is also operating in this multi-level marketing scheme. So Polish authorities have detained 4 suspects linked to 6 DDoS for hire platforms believed to have facilitated thousands of attacks targeting schools, government services, businesses, and gaming platforms worldwide since 2022. Such platforms are often marketed as legitimate testing tools on the dark web and hacking forums, but are mainly used to disrupt online services, servers, and websites by flooding them with traffic and distributed denial of service attacks and causing outages for real users. The 6 DDoS services named SFRAXP and Security, NeoStress, JustStress, QuickDown, and ZapCut have been taken down in a coordinated law enforcement action involving authorities from Germany, Netherlands, Poland, and the US. So, they have these easy-to-use interfaces that require no technical skills besides paying for a subscription or a one-time fee, entering the target's IP address, and choosing the type and duration of the DDoS attack. Look at how clean. Look, this is now the second time. If you remember yesterday, we looked at a UI for a ransomware company. No, it was a group of hackers. And they were stealing people's data, and they were putting in the people that they stole from, and the UI looks great. It looks way better than the stuff we have now. Like, maybe we should be hiring these hackers and groups to generate websites like this. This looks nice. I would use this just for. It's like, yeah, this looks great. Data seized by the Netherlands police from these booter websites was shared with international partners and led to the arrest of 4 administrators associated with the DDoS platforms in Poland. Yeah, so and then they talk about how distributed they were. They were doing, obviously all kinds of stuff that all of us know about. Other joint actions include seizing 13 domains and another 48 domains, hosting booter platforms in 2 separate enforcement waves. So there you go. They caught him. But I mean, yeah, that UI though, it's sick. Sick. It's clean. I'm telling you, we should be hiring these people to create websites. What's up, Elko? Good to see you. What's up, Ross? Good to see you. I do have healthcare related news, but I can't get to it today. I'm so backlogged, Ross. And I have a good one. Obviously, I have a good one. But I don't have the you're gonna have to spread these out because there's so much. Okay, let's do the next article here. Several iHeart radio stations hacked. Customer and employee data stolen. Very sensitive personally identifiable information was taken in iHeart radio attack. They confirmed several radio stations were hit with a data breach. Crooks took names, health, and payment data from an undisclosed number of people. The company notified the government and law enforcement. So, iHeartMedia reporting the breach to Maine, Massachusetts, and California, but they left out the total number of affected individuals, so we have no idea how many people were affected by this. The company said that between December 24 and December 27, 2024, an unauthorized actor viewed and obtained files stored on systems at a small number of our local stations. There were millions of messages that apparently were taken. Nobody has assumed responsibility, but they managed to steal, here we go, full names, passport numbers, and other governmental identification numbers, dates of birth, financial account information, payment card information, health information, and or health insurance information. They struck gold with this database. It literally says that. With names, birth dates, health and insurance information, they can target people with tailored phishing attacks, and with passport numbers, they can engage in identity theft. Financial account information, particularly payment card information, can be used in wire fraud. The data hasn't yet emerged for sale on the dark web either. Why does a radio station have passport numbers? Probably employees. That's probably what it is. Because they did say at the beginning of the article Where is it? Where was it? It was employee and customer data, somewhere in here. Yeah, there we go. Customer and employee data stolen, right in the title. So, yeah. Yet. That's right. Hasn't been used yet. But we'll get there. Don't worry. Somebody has this data, and it would be smart of them to sit on it and, bide their time. All right. Let's keep going. Now, if you recall, hang on. Let me do I'll just do a proper switch here, and here we'll do this. Okay. If you recall, last week there was a series of cyber attacks that hit the UK in all kinds of ways. I mean, they were getting like Eiffel Tower. They were getting it from both ends, and the hackers were high-fiving in between. Okay. The UK got hit hard. And there wasn't like no lube, just straight. So the attacks were extremely widespread. There was a ton of information leaked. Retail stores were probably one of the biggest targets that at least we know of that were exploited, but there were others. And we now have some fallout. So I have been saying this for such a long time. I've been saying this for I don't even know how long. There are actual serious consequences to a lack of care in how you code, what you code, security configurations, basic principles of programming and sysadmin and database operations and things like that we should know better in the year 2025 when we have cars that can somewhat manage to drive themselves through some locations, but we can't seem to secure S3 buckets or have the common sense not to give out passwords to corporate VPNs or name your list. There are real world consequences beyond just, boo-hoo me, my manager yelled at me because I didn't do it. Like, no, actual people are affected by this. Kids, elderly, and everybody in between who have nothing to do with the tech industry. We're gonna see proof of this yet again right now. Delivery delays and empty shelves at Co-op after cyber attack. Cash only, no card payments, sorry. Some Co-op stores have been left with empty shelves as the major cyber attack the retailer is battling disrupts deliveries of fresh stock. Stores are open and trading. However, some were only able to accept cash payments on Monday and Tuesday, something the firm says is now resolved. The disruption comes after the company admitted to the BBC on Friday the attack on its systems had resulted in significant amounts of customer data being stolen. We already covered this. Now, the data that was extracted, names, contact details, dates of birth, not bank details, transaction information, or passwords, so that's at least good, have been extracted. But this is a real world consequence where you go to a Co-op store hoping to get something that might be critical to you, and it's not there, potentially. Payment problems were the primary reason, but also shipping, right? So that's what they covered. Now, payday banking outages hit 1.2 million people, banks reveal. As if it wasn't enough to have the cyber security issues, we now have this in the UK to add to it. What is this about? 1.2 million people in the UK were affected by banking outages that happened on what was payday for many earlier this year. The details have emerged in letters from Lloyds, TSB, Nationwide, and HSBC to Dame Meg Hillier, the chairman of the Commons Treasury Committee, which is looking into the incident that occurred on Friday, 28th of February. HSBC also revealed that customers had to wait 2 hours on average that day to reach its online customer service team. Its standard target wait time is 5 minutes. Now, they had 700,000 people who were customers of Lloyd's, Halifax, Bank of Scotland, and MBNA who couldn't log into their accounts on a first attempt. It did not amount to an outage because there were 5 million successful logins during the period of disruption. Okay. And then they have even more disruptions for more customers. And then they had to pay out £114,000 in compensation to customers who have been affected by it, because obviously people need access to their money. The impact to that in terms of pure financial dollars, downtime, is currently not quantifiable. So they're still looking into it because they have to do compensation payments, and they also have to take into account cost of getting the infrastructure back up, people who couldn't work but they paid them anyways to work, extra overtime hours to work on this stuff. There are a lot of financial implications that are not quantifiable currently. Now, the incident itself, I'm not sure. Let me make sure this link is not like a bad link, because sometimes that happens to me. Just a sec. Is this a good link? Yeah, this is fine. Okay. But so this is the follow-up link to what actually happened. And unfortunately, if you go read this link, they don't tell you what happened. There's nothing in here that tells you what happened. So we don't even know whether this was a cybersecurity issue, whether it was just bad IT planning, whether it was a perfect storm of something. There, as far as I can tell from what I've been trying to gather, there is no information about why this happened. However, I find it extremely conspicuous, very coincidental, that it happens very shortly after an onslaught of cybersecurity issues where databases were breached and information leaked from a bunch of other places in the UK. It makes me very suspicious about what happened here. So I don't know. But there's something going on here. Now, just to dig in a little bit further on this, at first, it wasn't very apparent what happened with the data breaches that originally happened in the UK with regards to the retail stores. So we can kind of get a sense of what might be going on here by having me go back and basically figure it out. So I found this article, and it has to do with Dragon Force. Now, if you're a regular watcher, you might have heard of Dragon Force before. Let's just read a little bit and we'll get a sense of what the heck happened here. So obviously we know they got access to a significant number of details. We've already gone through that, yada, yada, yada. Let me just see if I can zoom in without ruining everything here. I think that looks fine. So we have attacks that occurred on April 22nd. Marks and Spencer was hit. We already went through that. Now, apparently, the actors reportedly conducted a social engineering attack that allowed them to reset an employee's password, which was then used to breach the network. Now, this is something that I didn't have information on when I originally covered the UK cyber attack stuff. Well, now we have the data. Once they gained access to the network, they used the Active Directory services that contains passwords for Windows accounts, and then they basically just extracted the passwords. The Dragon Force ransomware is behind the attack. They're an operation. They're the same hackers who breached Marks and Spencer last week. That was something that we didn't know. So the same people who attacked Co-op and succeeded also attacked Marks and Spencer and succeeded. And I know that there was a third retailer, I believe Harrods, that also had a successful cybersecurity attack, although I could not find evidence that it was the Dragon Force ransomware group that did it. They claim to have data from 20 million people who registered for Co-op's membership reward program, which we already covered. Now, how did they do this? The threat actors stated they contacted Co-op's head of cybersecurity and other executives using Microsoft Teams messages, sharing screenshots of the extortion messages with the BBC. Oh, I didn't see this. My eyes completely skipped this. Apparently they claimed that they did Harrods as well. There you have it. All three retailers I covered last week, all three of them hit by the same people. Now, the messages were shared with the BBC, but they don't show them here. They absolutely do not show them here. But they have been known to do exactly what we covered yesterday, which is pretend to be a IT support desk. That's why, let me find it again. That's why this works. Because they used the exact method we covered on yesterday's Daily Tech News stream. They pretended to be an IT support desk. They contact potentially the head of cybersecurity, and they say, look, man, you've got a problem. This is how it operates, right? And you need to change your password. And away you go. No, the BBC article does not have the screenshots. No, there's no screenshots. And I think partially because, if I were to guess, they wouldn't share the screenshots because they would have identifiable information about people involved. So it's probably not a good idea for me to track down the screenshots and show them either, right? So there you go. So we have, at the very least, we don't have confirmation, right? Like, just because somebody claims that they did this doesn't necessarily mean that they did do it, unless of course we find evidence that they did, like the company said yes it was them, or they have data that comes directly from these companies. But if we take their word for it, what this means is that 3 massive retail chains in the UK were attacked by one ransomware group successfully, and then the real world consequences come into play. Right? And then we have, where is it? Here, a day ago. No, sorry, not a day ago. This comes from February 28th. So this was before, but the timing is... So if you think about it, right? So April, what are we talking about? April something, like mid to late April on this. I can't remember the date off the top of my head. April 20 something, right? February, the banks go down on a unknown IT security issue nobody knows about, right? March passes. What do we not know? April comes along, and then this is what we know. I'm finding the timeline to be very short and very constrained, and the coincidence here is like... my conspiracy theory is going off here. However, this series of attacks in the span of, let's call it 3 months, and the level of success that they're having is crazy. Absolutely crazy. So there you go. We're in the wrong business. I don't know what we're doing wrangling code. We could just be doing what these guys do. Absolutely bonkers. Okay, now. Okay, I've got my studies up. Let's move on here. I've got this one. Let me zoom in a bit on this one too. The role of GitHub Copilot on software development, a perspective on productivity, security, best practices, and future directions. That's right, a study on GitHub Copilot and whether or not GitHub Copilot has any usefulness in it. So what they did was they went over the way that Copilot is used inside of a particular data set. I believe, based on what I read, they essentially just looked at the typical data set that Copilot operates in with OpenAI's Geppetto 3, and they found that there were 159 gigabytes of Python code from 54 million repositories. That's just part of the data set that goes into GitHub Copilot. So they essentially just referenced this, I believe, because they wanted to see like what they were working with. Now, let me go down to, many people have used it, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So there were some positive outcomes. I have to call out things that I don't want to believe, but there are some positive outcomes. For example, the findings suggest that GitHub Copilot significantly enhances productivity, reducing the effort needed by approximately 70% for simple tasks and around 20% for more complex ones. Now, the disparity between the numbers tells us something right there. This is a speed boost, but it's telling us something that they're not explicitly saying. Simple tasks are easier for LLMs to deal with than complex ones, and the higher the complexity, the less likely you are to get a boost in your productivity. People who used GitHub Copilot with assistants to do I think they used like a sample Upwork sample or something like that of developers. They completed their tasks 55.8% faster than those without AI support. Okay, so they have some things here that seem good, right, at first glance. 88% of developers felt more productive. 77% agreed they spent less time searching for information. And now it starts to get a little weird, because I'm not so sure that 77% of developers spending less time searching for information is necessarily a good thing. 87% experienced less mental effort on repetitive tasks, reducing cognitive load. 74% reported being able to focus on more satisfying work because Copilot alleviated the burden of repetitive coding tasks. Okay. Now, I would still not say that that's necessarily a good thing, but there are definitely some repetitive tasks that I can see being a positive thing for AI to take over. So, sure. There was an 84% increase in successful builds. Now, in my personal opinion, that doesn't actually mean much because it depends on the nature of the build, but still, okay. Developers accepted approximately 30% of suggestions from GitHub Copilot, and 90% reported committing code recommended by Copilot. Now I start to get worried. And additionally, 91% of developers stated that their teams merged pull requests containing code suggested by Copilot. Okay. However, what does effectiveness mean? What does success mean? Just because something is accepted, what does that actually mean? The findings confirm that Copilot continues to generate insecure code. In a previous study, published in 2022. The study revealed 452 generated snippets with a high likelihood of security vulnerabilities. Specifically, 32% of the Python and 24% of the JavaScript snippets exhibited security issues. These vulnerabilities span 38 distinct common weakness enumeration categories, including critical ones, like these ones. 8 of these are listed in the 2023 top 25. And I think I might have skipped over it inadvertently here, but yeah, I probably did here. There was something they talked about here where a lot of the efficiencies that were gained strictly by having Copilot generate code for you were often lost because the developers could not trust the output. When they were asked to double check what was being produced, they lost that time having to work with Copilot to regenerate the code snippet. I think I jumped over it somehow and I missed it. I meant to go down in a particular order and somehow I missed that. It's somewhere up here. So efficiencies gained are in one area are typically lost in another. And that's if the developer takes the time to review the code that was generated by Copilot before they ship it to production. And that feeds back into why I find the particular numbers around the successful builds, increase in pull requests, or increase to pushes in productions, things like that, because how many of these have things that were not properly scrutinized and ended up in production? And then, of course, they cover the legal and ethical implications of things like taking code from licensed code bases, et cetera, or exposing sensitive information to the LLM, and so on and so forth. So there you go. I thought I'd highlight this study. Okay. Now, let's see here. Let me pull up the next one. Yes. Okay. This one. Another study. Large language models are overconfident and amplify human bias. Now, this one in particular was very interesting to me. So they took a look at 5 LLMs. Where is it? Right here. This is kind of, I had to go into the numbers a little bit, but they overestimate the probability that their answer is correct between 20% and 60%. Humans have accuracy similar to the more advanced LLMs, but far lower overconfidence. Although humans and LLMs are similarly biased in questions which they are certain they answered correctly, a key difference emerges between them. LLM bias increases sharply relatively to humans if they become less sure that their answers are correct. We can show that LLM input has ambiguous effects on human decision-making. LLM input leads to an increase in the accuracy, but it more than doubles the extent of overconfidence in the answers. So I had to go look at like what this meant because I didn't get it at first. They talk about like which models they used, comparative to humans and how accurate they were versus how confident that they were accurate, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So here's essentially what they're saying up here. Let me go back up to the top here. What they're saying right here. Even when I'm trying to find the right way to say it. When an LLM is very inaccurate, okay? So the inaccuracy is like down here. So let's say 10, 20% inaccurate. They're super confident. They're super confident. That's what that means. They actually go more confident the less sure they are that they have an accurate answer. That's what LLMs do. Whereas humans will be less confident the less sure they are, because they're less sure, right? So humans will track their certainty level to an answer pretty much in accordance with whether or not they feel assured that their answer is accurate, the accuracy of the answer, right? Humans will track that. But LLMs go in the opposite direction. The less sure they are about an answer, the more confident they are about it. Once again, we see the implications of these systems that people don't often think about or don't want to think about, because they need AI to be their savior. And it comes at any cost, absolutely any cost. They're willing to do that. What's worse is what we covered yesterday, just to add in one last thing here, which is that the people who generate the AIs, operate them, run them, upkeep them, etc., don't even know how much of a problem this actually is. They don't even know where to look for the problem. We already covered that in yesterday's Daily Tech News stream. Okay. Now, this one is a little bit of an interesting one, an interesting aside just for a bit. Man pleads guilty to using malicious AI software to hack Disney employee. Fake image generating app allowed man to download 1.1 terabytes of Disney-owned data. So this California man pleaded guilty because he tricked a person into running a malicious version of a widely used open source AI image generation tool. So what he did, he took an LLM and Comfy UI, and he added functions to it for copying passwords, payment card data, and other sensitive information from machines that installed it. The fake extension got sent to a Discord server that he himself operated. To better disguise the malicious code, it was folded into files that used the names OpenAI and Anthropic. And you can see, I think, it's a little blurry even for me, so I don't know how it looks on your screens, but there you go. So the Disney employee would download the LLM thinking that, hey, this is going to help my workload, right? And then he gained access to everything he wanted. And he got 1.1 terabytes of confidential data from thousands on the channel. In early July, Kramer contacted the employee and pretended to be a member of a hacktivist group. Later that month, after receiving no reply from the employee, Kramer publicly released the stolen information, which, besides private Disney material, also included the employee's bank, medical, and personal information. In a plea agreement, Kramer admitted that 2 other victims had installed it, and he gained unauthorized access to their computers and accounts as well. Now, this highlights something. We don't just have to worry about AI lying to you confidently the less sure it is about a particular answer. We also have to worry about people who run and build these AI systems. You have no idea what you're bringing in. And when you're talking about a few gigabytes of an AI system in order to do something that you want to do, you're probably not going to go check what's in there, because who even knows how to look inside of an AI machine? Like, it wouldn't even be your first thought to do that. So now you actually have to be careful of the models you're downloading because you don't know what's in them. And if one person can do this, what do you think a company can do? What do you think a company can do when they're the ones in charge of an entire AI system? Oh, what's this? The next article? It's almost like I plan these things out. InfoSec guru Schneier worries corporate AI will manipulate us. there's very little I have to say. I think we all get it, right? I think I even brought this up in a previous tech stream. Did your chatbot recommend a particular airline or hotel because it's the best deal for you? Or is it because the AI company got a kickback? So we have a very serious issue. And one of the problems is that unlike code, which you can basically crack open and you can have a human being look at it and reasonably deduce whether or not there are negative elements inside the code base, that's not the same with AI. You can hide a lot of stuff in an AI model because most people won't even know to look at it. How are you going to look at the model itself while it's running? You've got several gigabytes of who knows what operating in who knows which way, and how are you going to check to see if there's anything nefarious in it? So this problem is actually much worse than the already existing problem we have in code, and that was already bad. Yeah, my tech on YouTube is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. They're already doing it. It will just 100 times once all marketing agencies have access to this tool. Yes. Yeah. And plug in your Visa, by the way. Visa's running a AI automated purchasing setup. You put your Visa in, and Visa, the company, will use AI. They're teaming up with Anthropic and with OpenAI, and they're going to automate your purchases for you. Can't go wrong, right? Can't go wrong. Now, just to make things a little bit worse, Microsoft unveils new AI agents that can modify Windows settings. If you're Microsoft and you have this power, what could you do with this? And very simply, the first thing that comes to my mind, I would change Windows settings so that people would be so frustrated with their machine, they would have to get an update. It's a new Windows experience for Copilot and PCs, agents that will make changing settings on your Windows computer easier. They'll make it easier to find what you want with natural language. You can instruct them to do it without any user involvement beyond the prompt. There's no way that this can go wrong. It will automate and execute tasks with your permission. Sure. And I like how they provide examples that seem very innocuous, like how to control my PC by voice or my mouse pointer is too small. And the agent will recommend the right steps you can take to address the issue. With your permission and at your initiation, it can even complete the actions to change your settings on your behalf. There are so many ways that this can go wrong, including something as simple as you give it improper prompts. That could be as simple as that. You give it a bad prompt and give it your permission, and away it goes, and you have no idea what you're doing. And it doesn't either. Man, I'm looking forward to that. Anything to avoid improving their UX. Yeah, they've been doing that since Windows 98. Subscribe to all the notifications. Yeah. I thought Windows already changes Windows settings on its own. Sometimes it does, yeah. Now, just very briefly, OpenAI agrees to buy Windsurf, which is an AI coding editor, for about $3 billion. I just want to make this clear. If OpenAI had the type of AI system that they're selling to you, they would have just made Windsurf themselves. That's a complete defeater of the argument. AI will never replace programmers. If it could, then you wouldn't need to buy out Windsurf for $3 billion. Okay, so they just defeated themselves, but everybody's patting themselves on the back. Yeah, it's a VS Code. Yeah, same as Cursor. Yeah. Okay. Now, a few mishmash items. Why more CEOs are heading for the exit. CEOs are leaving their posts at a record clip this year, according to Challenger Gray and Christmas, which tracks executive departures. I should do this. Last year, 373 public company chiefs exited, 24% more than in 2023. Among U.S. businesses with at least 25 employees, 2,221 CEOs bid farewell last year, the most since Challenger started tallying the departures in 2002. Yes, that's right. You're reading this right. CEOs are leaving their companies at rates not seen since 2002. Artificial intelligence, tariffs, possibility of a recession, scrutiny of diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, to name a few, so they've been leaving. Some who struggle to adapt have been shown the door. For others, a career break or retirement sounds pretty good. Don't cry too hard for them. The median CEO pay in the S&P 500 hit a new high of $16.4 million last year. I think that we might be living in a golden age where programmers like us who actually care about what we're doing and actually have the sensibility to create quality products because we know how to do it can build companies and take the money from them because they all seem to be ditching. Anyway, it's just an interesting thing I came across. I thought I'd bring up. Just, I don't really have much, and much more I can talk about it, but I just thought it was an interesting thing. Like, something's up, right? Something is up, and it might have. I was hoping it would tie into why there's been a downtick in VC funding. I think this is the worst it's been since 2012, and VC funding is basically drying up as well. So something's going on out there. The market is saying something, but people are saying no. Everything's never been better. Well, something's up here, right? Now, speaking of the job market, something happening. Something alarming is happening to the job market. A new sign that AI is competing with college grads. Uh-oh. According to the New York Federal Reserve, labor conditions for recent college graduates have deteriorated noticeably in the past few months, and the unemployment rate now stands at an unusually high 5.8%. Even newly minted MBAs from elite programs are struggling to find work. Meanwhile, law school applications are surging, an ominous echo of when young people used graduate school to bunker down during the great financial crisis. What's going on? You could have a fallout from COVID era, okay? It could be kind of like when there was the recession around 2009, 2010, etc., etc. The job market in the IT industry is absolutely going down, for sure. And AI is definitely taking over some jobs. But you can see right here, this chart, the new grad gap, total unemployment minus recent grad unemployment. This doesn't look that great based on U.S. Census Bureau and U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics current population survey. Now, law firms apparently are leaning on AI for more paralegal work, and consulting firms realize that 5 22-year-olds with a ChatGPT could do the work of 20 recent grads, and tech firms turned over their software programming to a handful of superstars working with AI co-pilots. The entry level of America's white-collar economy would contract. Of course it would. Here's the problem, though. What these people don't realize is that the only people who are benefiting are the people in the company who are at the top. For example, if you're an IT worker and you're being asked to use AI to take over the job of several juniors, you're getting paid the same to do more. That's all that means. That's what that means. But it also means that recent grads are not going to be able to find jobs. So this is looking pretty bad right now. And if you're in college or university or whatever, and you're getting a degree, I wish you luck, because it's hard for many people right now to find a job when a bunch of stupidity is taking place and replacing jobs. Okay, next one. ChatGPT is getting smarter, but its hallucinations are spiraling. Uh-oh. So we've covered this before, where the upgrade to ChatGPT included sycophancy, and there were issues with it, and they had to essentially roll back some versions. However, we're talking about 03. This isn't even really 04. What they found with 04 and the 03 model and the 04 mini model is OpenAI found that the Geppetto 03 model incorporated hallucinations in a third of benchmark test involving public figures. I didn't know this. I actually didn't know this. In a third of a benchmark test involving public figures, hallucinations were involved. That's double the error rate of the earlier 01 model from last year. The more compact 04 mini model performed even worse, hallucinating on 48% of similar tasks. And we covered this. There was a news article where a man, I believe from Denmark, took his name and put it into ChatGPT and said, "Who is," and his name. And it came up with a completely hallucinated, made-up story where apparently he 404'd a bunch of people in the town he lived in, and there was some big to-do in the news, and then it like generated some fake news stuff, and that he had spent some time in jail or something crazy like that. When tested on more general knowledge questions for the Simple QA benchmark, hallucinations mushroomed to 51% of the responses for 03 and 79% for 04 mini. Can you imagine general tasks having an only 20% non-hallucination rate on 04 mini? That's crazy. I didn't know about this, and we've covered some of this already. So anyways, and then they talk about like, you know, the potential issues and whatnot. But I thought these statistics were absolutely insane. So again, to the AI cultists out there, no, your AI is not going to replace entire swaths of industries or put people out of work and on universal basic income. It's just not happening. Okay. That's it. That's all I had. I'm a little over an hour. I kind of started late, so I ran late. But those are the articles I had for today. I have a bunch more. I have so many more. Yeah. But there's just no time to cover them all. It's crazy how much there is. For example, I'll just give you a few sneak peek titles. I have one on whether AI can detect wild oysters. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I have a whole bunch of data breaches. I have a whole bunch of cybersecurity issues. There's a ton. There's healthcare stuff for Ross. There's one about IT workers and issues around them using AI at work. There's so many. There's so many. And then I have an entire set of articles that will take up just one stream going over ghost jobs. I went and did a deep dive on that. Yeah, I did a deep dive on ghost jobs, and that's going to take up an entire stream right there because there's so much to cover there. Ghost jobs and ghost workers. So there's a lot. Can AI detect how fat your mom is? No one can. No one can. Good one, MyTech on YouTube. So there you go. There you go. Those are the articles I have. Now, unfortunately, the stars have not aligned. So you're not getting an Alex Jones. You're not getting a prepped Alex Jones, a full-on imitation style, Tech Jones, whatever. It's not happening. Sorry. I would have to make a whole bunch of noise, and I can't do it right now, and it just didn't work out. So I'll have to save it for another time. So it's not like it wasn't the most super interesting. We've had interesting streams, but more interesting streams before. This one wasn't quite the same, but there was a few tidbits in there, so I'll call it there. And I will be back on Monday with more Daily Tech News. And this weekend, I'm not entirely sure when. I'm doing some recordings for my new tutorial series that I promise you will be taught some things that you won't get taught anywhere else. Okay, I have to do some recordings for that, and I want to do a chill video game stream this weekend. I think I've set aside some time for that, so I'll get on that this weekend, and we'll do that. And maybe then I'll do the Alex Jones conspiracy one. Okay, maybe then I'll do it. It'll be a full-on. I have a full script prepared. I'm not joking. I won't show you the picture. I have papers. I'm ready to go, but not today. jQuery versus React. You got it, D. You got it. I'll do a jQuery versus React song. Okay, that's it. Thanks everybody for supporting me. As per usual, if you like what I'm doing here and you like the message I'm spreading and you want me to do more of it and tell more people about the issues that we're facing and the fact that we can fix them because we can, and it's within reach. It won't take much effort. We need programmers to step up. We need programmers to be encouraged to learn fundamentals and basics again. Help me out. You already are helping me out a ton. The YouTube is blowing up. It's crazy. It's growing faster than I can track it. It's really, really good. But all that means is that there are more people who appreciate what I'm saying. That's what that means. And there's an algorithm game that has to be played, and you guys are playing into it. You're helping me by liking and subscribing and pushing the stupid buttons that I hate. I hate the algorithm stuff. I'm going to say it every stream because it's true. I don't think these things are good for people's brains. But if I want to get that message out, well, it seems to be working and the message is expanding, and we seem to have stuck to our general principles here. We haven't sold out, right? Yet. Yet. For the right price, though. I'm kidding. So it's good. So please keep supporting me. For as long as you support me, I will continue doing this. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the chat. Chat went by quite a bit, so I'm sorry I can't keep up with everyone. And yeah, I just appreciate all the support. Keep it up, and I'll keep doing my part and trying to make it worth it for you. So that's it for me. I'm out of here. You guys, please stay safe out there. All right, stay safe, because it's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. And yeah, watch out for your data. Okay, that's it. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, have a good night, have a good day. I'll see you on Monday at the very latest. Hopefully this weekend for some chill video game time, and we'll have a bit of fun. Maybe you'll get to see Tech Jones. Okay? All right. So I'll do my typical, my typical outro. You guys suck. You all suck. Your parents are embarrassed of you. Okay? Your grandparents don't like you. Okay? You're all pathetic. All of you are pathetic. You're sad and pathetic. You're all sad and pathetic. Every single one of you. Every single one of you. Your parents call me all the time and they tell me how embarrassed they are. They're so disappointed in you. Okay? if you have a significant other, they are also just as disappointed in you as everyone else is. You're all sad losers. You all suck.